Clap. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you may be around the world. Welcome to Sync Podcast. I am really excited to introduce our new guest. We do have Mike Hensley uh, here with us today. Thank you for being here, Mike. Mike is the founder and CEO of the autismman.com. Mike is actually a former autism coordinator with Alvarado.
Alvarado.
What is it?
In Texas, it's Alvarado.
Alvarado.
Yeah.
Alvarado
Now,
ISD.
Texas is a whole nother country.
Right, serving an entire district, right?
Yes.
Statewide leader through the ESG Region 11,
Yeah.
impacting over 500,000 students.
Yes.
SPED Connect, uh, you know, trained thousands of teachers, led crisis teams, built
Mhm.
parents network, and yes, he's been called the autism whisperer. Welcome, Mike, to our show. It's great to have you. Can you just let us know, how did you start? How does the story go with you being the autism man? That today, how does that go?
Well, I started in autism back in 95, 96 in Duncanville ISD. I was a paraprofessional in a classroom. It was from kindergarten through fourth grade. I started there, and then I decided that, well, I'd gone to seminary. I went to Howard Payne University and got a Bible degree.
Okay.
And while I was there, I couldn't find a job. And so I was looking for jobs. In fact, my mother-in-law worked for Duncanville ISD as the payroll supervisor,
Okay.
and I was working jobs, all kinds of jobs. I trade, worked for Action Auto Rental, built tree houses with shade tree toys. I was actually I was a kind of, what do you call it? I was a dishwasher at the high school at Duncanville High School.
Right.
So my mother-in-law decided it was time for me to get out of that. And I got into seminary. I got 26 hours of seminary and said, that is not for me. I'd already gone through Bible school and it was time to change. So I went from there and I became a paraprofessional in an autism classroom,
Okay.
K through 4. From there, let's see. From there, I went to the classroom.
Okay.
It was a fifth grade campus, Hardin Intermediate School in Duncanville, Texas. And from there, that's a long story. That was an awesome place to be.
Okay.
Duncanville sent me to teach level one. No, yeah, they sent me to teach level one training at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. That's where I got the level one teach training. From there, we had kids and we moved to Ector County Independent School District, which is in Odessa, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. From there, I became the autism specialist and in-home trainer for Ector County Independent School District. Now that's kind of the short version. While I was there, we had a committee. We didn't have a name; it's just a committee.
Hmm.
And that committee, we met once a month to have parent trainings or parent meetings, whatever we call it. So all the parents would gather and they would serve a meal. From there, it grew and grew and grew and grew. But I'm there, I left there. I had a teacher in Ector County Independent School District who
Okay.
literally set a kid off, triggered him. And my special ed director at the time told me that I had not gone there quick enough. Well, to see what happened was I was going to get tickets to get to the autism conference. and my director lost it, literally lost it.
Mm.
She started yelling and crying. I'm not going to mention names, but yes,
Right.
got very upset. I walked out of there. I'd already replied to Region 11. This is the crazy part. I already applied to Region 11 Education Service Center, and my wife is from Duncanville.
Hmm.
Well, I did that without her knowledge. Yeah. I just thought, I saw autism consultant on the internet and I just applied.
Okay.
And what do you know? They called. I had 3 interviews.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 interviews. First one was just softball questions. Second one was a little harder. The third one was the very hardest. Dr. Francine Holland.
Wow. Oops.
Yep. She raked me over the coals. And I got back in my vehicle and I was driving back to Odessa and I'm not gonna get this. So go back to I was in Ector County in the school district. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
That same principal or that same special ed director who was yelling at me, telling me I got there too soon, too late, started
Hmm.
crying and crying. And the phone, my cell phone started ringing. Had to walk
Hmm.
out of the office, literally walk out. I walked out and I heard Francine Holland on the phone.
Oh.
She offered me the job. I was stunned, literally stunned. Still am. Walked back in. I said to the director, I said, she's still yelling at this point. If you had been that interested in
Hmm.
all these children with autism and all the trainings that we have been doing for years and years and years, you would have shown up for at least one of them, just one. If you want to know about autism, you should have come to one of those meetings, those parent meetings that we were having.
Right.
She, I didn't know you were leaving. I can't believe it. I said,
Right.
well, here's the deal. If you'll come to one meeting at Region 11 Education Service Center, I'll see if I can give you a break on the price. And that was in.
Right.
Here I went to Region 11, became the educational consultant for autism for 9 years and for 3 months. 3 months. Because what happened? I went there, went to the service center, and we moved to Duncanville, Texas.
Okay.
Back to where we started, because my mother-in-law had dementia. And I drove all the way to Education Service Center, Region 11 for three months. 3 months. After that, I went to Hungary. That's what I thought. Before I went to Hungary, the service center had a policy that we couldn't go out to them. They had to come to us.
Okay.
We couldn't go out to the districts. They had to come to us. That policy has changed since then.
All right.
So from there, Hungary, from there, I wanted back in a district. I had been on to Hungary. We'd worked our butts off with these kids. The Hungarians had turned over all of their public education to churches and denominations. And I thought, well, I want to go back to working with kids and parents.
Okay.
And from there, I went to Alvarado. That's when I started in Alvarado.
Okay.
I was there for 9 months 9 years and 3 months as the autism coordinator for autism.
Wow.
Yeah. I retired. I retired. Still trying to figure the retirement thing out. If you don't know about Texas, they don't really like teachers at all. Not at all. They don't like to pay them. They certainly do not respect them. They do not value them. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Teacher Retirement System of Texas. Annuity, TRS, active. Yeah, they don't give us good insurance. Our insurance sucks. It literally is bad.
Okay.
From there, I retired and I started the autismman.com. When I started it, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. Literally, had no idea. I will tell you, my business is booming, 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 booming.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. From
Yes.
there, well, that brings us to today. Now we're
Okay.
trying to move. Trying to move. Want to get out of Alvarado. Oh, there's Cat. Yep.
Oh,
Started the
oh,
autismman.com. It was always a dream of mine to have my own business.
okay.
And that's what I did. I started my own business called the autismman.com.
That was what year?
Yeah, that was in, let's see, there, let's see, Alvarado, see, that would have been sometime in 2023. We've been here 2 years.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And then, you know, Mike, just to, reiterate back to to our audience, if you don't know, autism is it's a big deal, right?
Yes, it
So
is.
there is uh, over $450 billion that will be invested as a budget for autism management throughout the United States, world.
Right,
Uh, there is 1 in 32 kids that is diagnosed with autism.
right,
It is actually lesser in California. I think California is 1 in 19, based on some
right,
recent statistics that I reviewed, and it just varies state by state. There's a lot of care that is needed with this type of dealing with the whole autism or artistic nature. So Mike, just to reiterate back, just to give people a little bit of definition, what would you say autism is, and what type of conditions are probably articulated around the whole nature of autism or autistic?
right. That's an interesting question. At level one teach training, Gary Mesabov, who is the director um, for the Chapel Hill campus, that was a question everyone I wanted to know. What causes it
Right.
and why is it rising? He said it's one part genetic and one part environmental. The environmental part, we don't know. Genetics for sure. I kind of think ADD, ADHD are all on the same spectrum. Because if you take take a child or a student with severe ADHD, they will show the same symptoms and signs.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think the spectrum is much broader than what they actually say. Now, the environmental part, I don't know. It could be anything. It's
Okay.
a stack of cards. One thing leads to the other.
All right. So another question for you here, Mike. You've been in classrooms, boardrooms, living rooms. What did 28 years teach you about what really moves the needle?
What moves the needle is early intervention.
Right.
The sooner the parent will get involved in the life of their child, whether it be through an IEP meeting. I was at in-home. Oh, that's another thing I did for Region 11 and for Alvarado. I was an in-home parent trainer
Okay.
and the coordinator for all the services. In-home parent training, I did that in Ector County Independent School District. The the best outcomes for those with children with autism is
Mhm.
early intervention. Without early intervention, that's what moves the needle. Early intervention. If you don't
Right.
have
So
that,
what, right. So what would you consider early intervention? Because according to some statistics that I looked up, autism is determined within that late 3+ to 4
right,
years of age, but then it
right,
can also be within that 7 to 8 years. So what
right.
would you say, is considered to be early intervention?
Well, in the state of Texas, it's three is three,
3 years. Okay.
right? Uh, at the age of three, school districts take over any services. Now,
Oh,
with our current president, I have a friend who works for ECI in Texas.
right.
They're getting budget cuts, big budget cuts.
Hmm.
So we're not so we're not with. I'm not going to mention names, but with our
Okay.
current president, he wants to cut, and if cuts ECI, that's going to leave a lot of kids hanging. I mean, a lot, because every time I go out to a district or I go to a school, there are more and more kids with autism. Now, the girls are a little different. Either they're way, way high, like way up here, or they're
Okay.
down, scraping the bottom of the barrel. Guys are in between. Most of when I was in Duncanville, most of the kids that we had were like Skinnerian types, like low, no, non-functioning or low functioning, nonverbal.
Okay.
Uh, the kids that we serve in Johnson County are more high, except for the girls.
All right. So you've audited rebuild programs across Texas and beyond. Let's give district and parents something actionable, right? So can you give me like three red flags that scream to autism programs, or that autism program is in trouble and what to do tomorrow?
Well, first thing you have to look at is early intervention. Early intervention is key. If they don't have early intervention, they're going to have to figure it's either going to be private agencies taking over ECI, or they're going to have to refund ECI. So we'll start with there. As far as the districts, denial of FAPE, free and appropriate public education. FAPE.
Okay.
Without FAPE, IDEA says without free and appropriate public education, you cannot and will not be able to educate a child with autism, regardless of the method you use.
Hmm.
Denial of FAPE equals due process. And that's what's going to happen, due process.
Right.
Right. And due process is not fun. They call witnesses and they subpoena not only the director, the report writers, and the superintendent.
Okay.
And they will rake them over the coals. I mean, they'll definitely rake them over the coals. Due process is not fun. Luckily, I
Okay.
have never been involved in a due process case. I've written about due process cases, and I have
Right.
a director who's probably going to have a due process case, but I have never been actually involved in a due process case.
Okay.
Now, an audit, now I've been that TEA does audits. That's another thing I've written about. A
Okay.
TEA audit is extremely difficult. You have to provide data, because we're supposed to be data driven, not only with our IEPs, but our BIPs, which are behavior intervention plans. See what else has to be done. Now they literally pull out the drawers and they start pulling kids' folders out of the drawers, and they
Okay.
walk them through the schedule of services. If the schedule of services is off, that's another due process case. You have to have the school child schedule of services has to match the IEP, which the IEP, the educational individual education program, has got to match uh, the schedule. The schedule has to reflect all the classes the student is involved in. If you don't
Okay.
have that, and the BIP also has to have goals. You have to have goals and objectives. Goals and objectives. If all of that does not add up, And all of that is not done. That is a due process case. And no one wants to go through a due process case. I do not want to go through a due process case because an audit is bad enough. Due process is worse. If there's anything worse than an audit, it's a due process case.
Really? How long does that take?
The audit, about a
Yes.
week,
Okay.
week to 2 weeks. It depends on how bad the district is. Like in Alvarado, ours was a week. Ours was 2 weeks. They literally walked school to school with the paperwork in hand, from school to school to school to school to school to school, making sure that everything matched and all it added up.
Okay. So based on these red flags and let's say, what you know of the programs, the autism programs that you've mentioned, what does, the fixes, right? Let's say a before and after story, right? So let's say whatever these areas that you've mentioned, what would it look like a before and after scenario? Can you give us a quick rundown what a before and
Well,
after scenario?
before they're out of compliance. If
Okay.
your IEPs, if they found one IEP, just one out of compliance, then they start putting in mandates, literal mandates, meaning you have to do this, and we're not going to give you any money for it.
Right.
And that's what's been happening. Federal mandates. I call it federal insanity. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, they'll put in mandates, meaning you have to do certain things. You have to put in, it's called an action plan.
Right.
Create an action plan. The action plan tells you how to fix all of those issues in a district and in schools. It's kind of like an IEP, except for the district. They have to fill out an action plan. Then it gets even worse than that. Then you have to make calls. They come back, they come back, they come back, they come back, they come back until you've fixed all the issues. Once you fix all the issues, everything goes good. But without fixing all the issues, it's bad. Bad, bad, bad.
Right, right. Because I've looked into some of those plans, those IEPs, and those I would say based on what you were mentioning, the audits and the
Yes.
uh, all that stuff that you're talking about. Uh, Sometimes they're about 1 or 2 years backwards when they are actually authorized. You see a kid, because I did we did had a contract that we worked with an entire school district in the Washington D.C.
Right.
area. So you'll see that an IEP and recommendation, all that stuff has been given and done. And when you look at the dates, let's say hypothetically, something was probably reviewed and done in 2020, 21, and then
Mhm.
get approved, and then the kid get access to support and help in 23, three
Right.
years later. So, this is probably I'm not sure, but what does these districts and organizations and who's financing them and why is it taking so long?
It just depends on the director. Different directors do different things. Johnson County Co-op has got some issues, lots of issues, but they're starting to correct them.
Okay.
But as a whole, Connecticut is probably the absolute worst.
Hmm.
They have lots and lots of cases and lots of kids, lots of money, and people get paid off. That's another thing. They can
Hmm.
pay off whoever they want to pay off to get out of the audits and the due process case. If you have the right lawyer and enough money, you can do anything you want to do. That's the problem, though. Not everybody is rich. If you're not rich, ECI goes away and you're not rich, you're on Medicare, the services kind of go woof, nothing. Especially after they graduate. By the time they graduate, they have no services whatsoever. And Texas is like 49th of 50 states for social services. That's right.
Wow.
49 out of 50. If you do not have services after you graduate, you have nothing at all. Nothing. Zero. Zilch.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right. So
Genetics worst.
right. So you and I can agree that technically there is a broken system, right? Whether
Well,
it's
it's been broken for a while. Texas is bad, but
right.
other states, Connecticut's bad, worse. Texas is terrible.
Hmm.
It's terrible. Our government, our governor, our all of them, they're all corrupt. I mean, corrupt.
All right. So before we talk tech, let's talk about the autism man, right? So
Right.
it's 2 years in the making. What is your vision there, right? As a visionary for success, why did you build the autism man, and what are you currently doing? What are you currently doing with your influence or your to
Right.
affluence certain conditions? What does that look like today?
Well, today I'm definitely going back to work for Johnson County Co-op because I have a training in July 31st.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 2-day training, but it's 1 day, and I'm trying to work on that one.
All
The
right.
other one, my big one is the one I'm wearing the shirt for.
Okay.
It's for a how do you put this? It's for a dealership. But yeah, you heard it right, a dealership.
Mm,
Moritz Kia.
okay.
Yep, we went up to Moritz Kia like in May. Yeah, it was May, and I had a scare with diabetes.
Okay.
Happened to go up. I saw the general service manager there. He was eating an apple. I walked up to. I was looking at a Telluride, a Kia Telluride. I was dreaming about it. I looked over there, and he was eating an apple. He's pouring honey on. I said, "What kind of apple are you eating?" He said, "Well, it's just an apple." I said, "What kind?" He said, "I don't know." And it all started there. From there, he said, "What kind of business are you in?" And I
Mm,
had to take out my wallet, pull out a card, and hand it to him. He said, "Oh, you work with you work with students with autism." I said, "Yes, I do."
wow.
Took the card, and he gave me his card.
Hmm.
And then he said, "If you will come here to Moritz Kia, and we will clear out the showroom, the entire showroom of cars, and we'll put up a screen, and you can do whatever you want to train our employees and young adults with autism how to buy a car. I'll sponsor you." He also offered me a job. Yeah, offered me a job. He did that. After that, I have gone back to see him two times. They have this what's called a
Okay.
playroom. It is a total disaster, a disastrous mess. We have been working to try to figure out how to set up that playroom.
Right.
That has been a booger bear. The playroom is really small. I mean, real small. But he has told me that as soon as they get me up on their website and social media, that I will be back, and back I shall be. And my business is booming. And once they get me up on that, I have no idea where this is going to go. All I can tell you is the autism man is growing. State by state,
Right.
city by city. I drop business cards all over the place, every place.
Great. Great. Because, your work, definitely has a lot to do with, support, having the support from the
Right.
public or private enterprise. I'm really, really excited that you do have that with that dealership. And you will
Yeah.
find that through, there's a lot of that autism stuff going
Right.
on, and people need the
Yeah.
support.
I've got a good friend, Daniel Duraney.
Mhm.
He's been saying, he's been after me forever. Said, let's do a, not a podcast. What is it? A TED Talk.
Okay.
Daniel Duraney is also a public speaker. He's
Right.
phenomenal. And I'm probably gonna have him. I'll do the slideshow part, and let Daniel Draney walk them through the buying a car because he's into budgeting and well, he did some work for me in Alvarado ISD, and he did a good job.
Right, right.
Well, they're
So,
going to take. They're also going to take pictures from behind. That way, they don't have to deal with HIPAA. That's basically
right.
take pictures without seeing faces.
Right. So we've looked at processes, right? We've talked about, disruptive engagements, right? For
Right.
instance, most of the IEPs I've seen, were technically written in either Word document or handwritten paper. And
Mhm.
they've been shared and passed around
Oh
and
yeah,
I don't know, maybe mailed or fact. I don't know how they even communicate to the right people and the staffs, right?
yeah,
So we want to talk technology, right? So
right,
what do you think technology can do? And again, this is not, a
right,
part of you being a technical expert, but because you know the autism world and you know what the processes and the documentation looks like,
right.
where do you see a lot of wasted time that you think automation and AI can support with the program, right? So you can start
Right.
at the state level, federal level, business
Yeah.
level,
Well,
and parent,
It's got to start with it. Well, nationwide, we
right?
need a good system. That's a problem. There's not a lot of good systems out there. Frontline, East Bed's probably one of the better ones,
Okay,
but it's still got some flaws. East Bed, yeah, it's okay. Until the actual the school districts buy into that, I don't know. AI can help with the writing of the goals.
okay,
And it also could help children with autism write because they don't children with autism they have a weird grip. It's like this. If you could teach them how to write and write properly, that's where AI could come in.
right.
GPT, AI writing. Yes. Children
Right.
with autism cannot write. They hate writing. They'd rather type.
Yes,
And
I've
they'd
I've
rather
come
type.
across that because doing some mentorship program that I've also done, I see that they struggle with writing.
Oh yeah.
They also struggle with reading, like
Oh
sitting
yeah.
down in a room for 20 minutes. It's a
Yeah.
big deal, right?
And
So
that's where the intervention comes in. If you can
okay,
have some kind of intervention, whether it be headphones, noise canceling headphones, those foam earplugs, anything that will. Okay, let's talk about their issues.
okay,
Okay, yeah, social behavior and communication. You
right,
can't have good social skills if you don't have good communication skills. You can't have good communication skills if you don't have good social skills.
right.
And but if you have both those off, then you have bad behavior. Behavioral
Oh,
issues start because they cannot communicate. That's a functional communication system.
okay,
The social skills program, one of the best is what's her name? Michelle. I got a book. Oh, uh, Michelle Garcia winner.
okay,
Think social. That's one of the best curriculums out there. There's a
okay,
lot of curriculums out there, but that's one of the best. Michelle Garcia winner. Think social. So if you got a good social program and a social skills group, I did groups. I forgot about that. I did groups in Alvarado, social skills
okay,
groups. And we also use restorative practices, which is basically restorative justice. Just
right.
give a spin. And basically, I would get them in a circle. We'd have use like this. This is a talking piece. I'd pass it from one kid to the other. And it worked until COVID.
Right.
COVID is what blew all of it. When COVID hit, people, if you go to classrooms, no matter where you live, they're still teaching like we're living in COVID. Everything is automated and everything is on a computer. They live on the computer, tied to the computer. They carry it around.
Where is that?
What's that?
Where is that?
Everywhere.
Okay,
My son goes to Keene High School. He's a sophomore. He'll be
okay.
getting um, his Apple book, Mac, Apple computer laptop. Yeah.
So,
everywhere I go, kids are
okay,
going. They got a it's like they'll have a phone. They'll carry an iPad. That's a problem. Kids, if you're going to have a student with autism, you got to have them socialized. The best prognosis or whatever is to
okay,
get them socialized often and early. Earliest you can get them socialized and develop a communication system, whether it be alternative augmentative communication or a low tech thing like picture exchange communication system.
right.
That's low tech. The problem with the high tech stuff, if the batteries go dead, it breaks. They have no way to speak. If they have no way to speak, they can't be social. They can't be social. They can't play. They can't play. They can't be social. They cannot have behavior. And all three lead. And all of that's tied to sensory overload.
Okay.
Sensory overload means they cannot think because all the information that's coming in through their sensory systems get all jumbled up. And they can't hear, they can't see, they can't talk. They brought back and forth. And STEM,
Right.
that's called STEM behavior.
Right, because what I've seen with autistic kids is, regular kids, normal kids love phones, computer technology, and all that.
Mhm.
Autism kids probably love it a little bit more. They're super attached when
Yeah,
you expose them to technology, and they tend to want to do just that.
that's exactly what happens.
Right.
Every I go out, it doesn't matter where I go.
Okay.
No matter, I've been all over the state of Texas.
Right.
Every student I've seen has got an iPad in their hand, and parents, it's become kind of the I don't know what you call it. That is their go-to. Just give them something to keep the kid quiet and entertained, and that's not the way to do it. You put an iPad in their hand and it breaks or it gets lost, it gets stolen. What are you going to do then? That's the problem. If you keep doing the same thing, well, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results.
Right.
That's what we have. Parents need to get their kids socialized. If they are not socialized, get them to communicate by whatever means, but don't use an iPad or a phone. That's what the problem is. We're still teaching like it's COVID, like we're in closure, and it's not. That's over. Well, sort of over, but you know what I mean. The more they
Right.
do that, the more they have the iPad and all that. If it breaks or gets stolen or the runs out of battery, the parents are stuck, literally stuck. If they
Yes, and that
have
happens frequently with
yes,
devices when it comes to kids. They tend to break it a lot.
oh
Um,
yeah, had
yeah,
a kid that would slam it. It's
right.
just broke several of them.
Right. So let's talk social engagement, right? So it,
Sure.
it is a little bit difficult to get um these kids in a social engagement because social engagement, you're actually interacting with all types of people.
Right.
And sometimes they could be a little bit more aggressive, and sometimes disruptive. So what are the guide or how do you think parents can work on improving socialization with their kids
Right.
with autism?
Well, that starts again. That's early intervention. The earlier
Okay,
they get them out and get them socialized, the better their is the outcome.
right.
Those that do not do that, they literally, well, how do I put this? I've got one parent who has a child who did not socialize him,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, he is now sitting on a couch and getting fat, literally.
Oh,
That's typically what happens when you don't socialize a kid. Now, I got another kid. I won't name names.
sure.
Yeah, he became a manager for the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Texas Rangers, and Dallas Stars, because they socialized him and socialized him all early and often.
Okay.
That's the key. If you socialize them early and often, They will learn
Right.
how to play and communicate. If you don't do that, you're going to have a lot of behavior, and it's all tied to the sensory part. The sensory overload is terrible. I had kids who could literally hear the water running through the walls. They'd hear a tick, 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 like a ceiling fan tick.
Right.
They'd hear that, and they couldn't block it out. Sensory is in the middle. Doot, doot, doot. Draw a pyramid, a triangle. Put sensory right in the middle. Without sensory, without some kind of sensory item, such as a fidget toy, any kind of fidget item, you're going to have behavior. Everything leads to behavior. That's where all the
Right.
behavior starts. Lack of communication system, lack of socialization, and sensory overload all lead to bad behavior. Bad, bad, bad behavior. If you don't have all three, four, you're going to have bad, bad behavior, terrible behavior. Now, if you get them all those done, get the sensory overload taken care of, you're going to have some, it still will be bad behavior, but it will not be as bad.
Right. So you will recommend in 2025. I think what we're saying here is the program and the administrative aspect of autism and its
Mhm.
maybe financing and approval and
Right.
coordination and all that definitely need to be automated and get more
Yes.
technology inclined. And
Uh,
then when it comes to maybe engagement of the actual kids with autism programs, has to be more, the socialization has to improved, has
right.
have to be improved, right? They have to socialize more and then
Right.
less more.
Yeah. And
Like, right.
group social skills. What we did in Alvarado is we put uh, students with autism for sure, and then
Right.
we bring in typical peers, bring
Okay.
in the typical peers to be peer models, and they learn good behavior. Well, some of it can be bad behavior, but you typically get you find the kids that are like the A+ student, the high athlete, the whoever, somebody in there that is very, very well behaved, and they start to be the peer model. Get the
Okay.
peer models in there, then they learn good behavior and they learn to socialize, they learn to communicate, because that's what happened in Alvarado.
Okay.
We socialized the kids with those who had autism and those who did not. And the outcome for the high school kids who have now graduated was very good, very good. They've now all aged out, and they also have got good jobs, except for one. That's the only one that I know that doesn't have.
Right.
Everybody else is doing great.
Right. And every the great thing about the US and our system is that we have a pilot systems for different
Right.
types of people and engagement. So even in your state, Texas, there is an entire learning school system that's being built and driven by AI, like feeling like, well, if can AI be great teachers, right? Can they
Right.
work through a program and teach kids from 7 to 3?
You can
Uh,
use it as a tool, but it'll
right.
never replace the teacher. The teacher is the key. You've got to have good teachers. You've got to have good paraprofessionals. But AI, computers will never take. They it didn't work during COVID. Didn't. It's not going to work now. What we got to have is good teachers, good teacher programs,
Okay.
and good paraprofessionals, and they got to pay for all of those. That's the issue: is the pay. The pay
Right.
is terrible, and paraprofessionals, without paraprofessionals, a classroom cannot survive. Literally, cannot survive.
Yes, I've come across other countries that have increased pay for teachers
Yeah,
that are paying in the
right.
75, 80, 95
Mhm.
plus. And I think there's been recent programs as well where the type of perks and all that given to teachers and all that have increased in certain private schools and
Right.
all that. So how do you think our society is? Is it you think it's still bad and like compared to the 90s or the early 2000s? Have we
Oh
improved in
yeah, yeah. No, we're not improving.
2025?
No,
We're not improving?
no, it's getting worse.
Oh
We're
man.
having more students showing up in schools with autism. It's increasing. And if
Okay.
you don't have early, if our president continues to cut
Right.
ECI, we're going to be flooded. We've already got enough. We're getting flooded, literally flooded with students that have IEPs, behavior problems, and autism. That we're getting flooded. I
Right.
mean, to the nth degree flooded.
Right.
And the
Well.
problem is we cannot get public education has been bad, but
Okay.
it's getting worse as time goes until all the COVID babies graduate. Let's say about 20 years, 20, 30 years.
Right.
Till all those graduate, it will continue to be bad. Most of my kids with autism live with their grandparents. They come from single parent families with low income single parent families.
Right.
And that leads to isolation and also leads to a due process case and fate. IDEA, individuals with the individuals, as that's the law. Got to follow the law. Don't follow the law. Don't deny the faith. Denial of
Right.
faith leads to due process.
Right.
Don't have all four of those that triangle. Don't have all those pieces in place that will lead to due process. And due processes are growing and growing and growing because districts do not know what to do. And districts
Right.
do, they go into a due process. And then it goes further and further and further.
Right. Because there are public systems, public schools that depends on public funding, and there
Exactly.
are private schools that are privately funded.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you
And the
feel like there is a comparatively huge distinctive between the two when it comes to autism kids, or you think that, maybe it's the funding is or the issues is because, they are fully dependent on public funding, or do we or have you have any experience working with private schools as well?
There's only one private school in Johnson County, and that's Lake Point Academy in Granbury.
Okay.
They have an ABA therapy place, but it's very, very small.
Okay.
When it comes to federal funds and state funds, here's the problem with that. Most private schools do not want to have those mandates like state testing, that
Okay.
type of thing, because there's always strings attached. If you take
Right.
federal money or state money, you have to do follow all the state laws and guidelines, and that's the problem. They don't want that. They're not
Okay.
going to do it. Only the rich can do that.
Right.
Otherwise, they go to a public school, and public schools are in trouble because they cannot do all of that in a
Right.
private school. And that public schools have to have all of the pieces, every one of them, including teachers, staff, because the students population is growing, 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 growing.
Right.
ECI can only do so much. But
Right.
once it comes to the public schools, they have got to do all of it until
Right.
they age out. If they're high functioning, they can graduate on time. If they're low functioning, they age out at 21, 22. And after that, there is nothing, not a thing. 49 out of 50 states in Texas, 49 out of 50 in social services. There'll be nothing for them after they graduate or age out. The public schools got to be funded, fully funded, and have all the pieces in place. Otherwise, due process and fake and lawsuits, lots and lots of lawsuits. That's the
Right.
problem with public education.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that,
You're
Mike.
welcome.
Right, just a quick myth or fact based on your experience to just trigger things around. And again, if you're listening or watching the show and the series, please subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel at Sync Consultants LLC. And thank you again, the Autism Man, for being on our program. So just a quick myth or fact. So, autism equals violence risk. Do you think that's a myth or that's a fact?
Well, if you look at all the school shootings, whether it be colleges, universities,
Mm.
high school. I think there's some truth to it. It's the
Okay.
kids who, and again, it's the kids who feel isolated, the kids who do not have services. They are bullied. Oh, bullying and harassment. That's another big topic. Kids that are bullied tend to be the bully becomes the bullier,
Right.
and
Right.
that is what that's it all. It's all tied together. Restorative practices
Right.
ties
Right.
right all in together. If you get bullied, you're more likely going to bully someone.
Yes.
Restorative justice and restorative practices can change all that. It's just getting people to buy into restorative practices or restorative justice. Get
Right.
off the pipeline to the schoolyard. Restorative justice cuts the pipeline from the jailhouse, the schoolhouse to the, well, that's restorative practice. Both of them basically cut off the pipeline from the schoolhouse to the prisons. And that's the problem. Not a lot of people want to talk about restorative justice or restorative practices, nor do they want to talk about Black Lives Matter, because they
Right.
do. Black Lives Matter. So
Right.
do the cops. But
Exactly.
again, without restorative justice and restorative practices, it's going to get worse, 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 worse. Social
Wow.
critical race theory is very true. I don't care what anybody says. Critical race theory is a law class. They
Right.
think it's done in public education, but it's not. It's a law class.
Exactly.
And it is true. Jim Crow laws,
Right.
all of that is true. Black lives do matter. So do white lives matter. Everybody matters. Cops
Right.
matter, but black lives matter too. I agree
That.
with that.
Okay. Another one for you. So all autistic students need the same classroom model.
No,
No.
it depends on the student.
Okay.
For some, ABA is the absolute best thing because if they have terrible behaviors, ABA can fix that. Now, it's hard to do that in a public school environment, although it has been done. But not many people can do that. It takes a combined model, ABA combined with the division
Right.
teach. Combine those two models, and you have good outcomes. The problem is no one wants to combine them. They
Okay.
either want to do ABA or they want to do teach. But you can do both.
Okay.
Improve. You can do both.
All right. Thank you. Another one coming your way is IEP paperwork can't be automated.
It is, but it isn't.
Okay.
Depends on the programming. Yeah, you gotta have to. There's gonna have to be more companies out there that develop software. The
Right.
software programs are few and far between. There's a thing called Goalbook that's pretty good, but it still doesn't write the goals for you. It just gives you a list of goals.
Okay.
Frontline, Eastbed, that's probably one of the better ones. But there's
Okay.
still, we need more companies out there developing software so that good IEPs, because they have to follow standards based. It's called standard based goals.
Okay.
That's all those pieces and parts. Put all the parts together. Standards
Yes,
based.
I would love to see that. I would love to see IEPs become a software, as a service. Of course, just because it's automated or it has some AI doesn't mean
Yeah,
it doesn't have to have human intervention,
absolutely.
right? Human intervention can still happen with AI.
Yeah,
Uh,
you still
right,
even if you're like if you're a teacher, you still an Eastbed, frontline Eastbed, you just have
right,
to click boxes. And that's a
exactly.
legally binding contract between you and the parent.
Okay.
It's only two parent, there are only two people in an IEP meeting across the globe. Only two people that really count. That's the see, that would be the principal of the school
Okay.
and the parent. Everyone else can disagree. But if the student and the parent are not the student, if the parent and the so what am I trying to say?
The parent and the student.
If the parent and the principal of the school agree,
Okay.
nobody else matters. It's only those two. If those two agree, it's an IEP. If they don't agree, then it's a due process or a hearing.
The principal and the parent
Principal and the parent, only
have
two
to
that have
agree.
to agree. If they don't agree, then they got a problem. Then they have to go,
Oh,
they have to take a recess. It's called a recess. A recess for like 5 days.
right.
They come back to the table and the district says, what can we do to get this parent happy? And if they don't do that, then it becomes a due process. Due
Okay.
process, FAPE, IDA. All of that is interconnected.
All right. So another myth or fact. So parents are the problem. And again, I've seen that where depending on the parent, you get certain things get done. Depending the nature of the parent and their belief has a lot to do with how progressive that kid becomes. Do you think
Right.
that's a myth or fact?
Yeah. Yeah. Parent is essential. If the parent is not involved, I can't tell you how many I would literally, as the autism coordinator, sit in an IEP meeting and have to be the advocate for the student because the parent, and I don't blame the parents for it. It's a fact that they typically are single parent homes and they're working jobs and they can't come to the IEP meeting. So I would advocate for the kid.
Okay.
Um, I had another um, had another uh, director, a special ed director in Acton County, said if we're going to err, let's err on the side of the child. And so I would always sit and err. If we're going to make an error, let's do what's right for kids and not what's best for the district. And that's what I always try to do. If you're going to err, if I want to make a mistake, I'm going to be transparent. That's the problem. Transparency.
Right. All right. So, I mean, you've been an awesome guest, Michael. I want to appreciate you for coming. And again, if you're watching our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel so you can get more episodes from here. So as we're wrapping up, Mike, we go back to the autism man. What exactly is your target? Let's say 25, 26. What is your focus and
Well,
as a
I'm
small business,
right.
let us know that. What is your focus 20, 25, 26?
Continuing to grow. I've got a Facebook group that's growing.
Okay.
Um, I'm still going to be doing Johnson County Co-op.
Okay.
Um, LinkedIn's growing. Everything's growing. It's booming, booming, booming.
Okay.
So what I hope to do is get a whole lot more contracts with school districts, but they don't really like to do contracts. They like to do it for free. I'm going to do with I'm more my biggest thing is doing for parents. I want to develop a parent kind of training. Pay what you can afford.
Yes, I think that's a great, great avenue. Is if you focus on the parent, you can change the dynamic
Absolutely.
because
Focus
kids,
on the parents. There,
right,
yeah. I kept thinking, how can I do that with
right,
Zoom, with a Facebook? I can do it with any of them as long as I can have a script to follow.
right.
I got all the training that I did both at the service center and um, after count, all the trainings every training I've ever done, I have saved,
Okay.
handouts, everything. I have it all saved because I never know what I'm going to be doing. But what I'm going to be doing is all of that
Okay.
parent training, parent training,
Right.
parent, yeah,
And,
parent
and
training.
and do you have a jurisdiction with this idea of parent targeting autism? Do you want to do that throughout the United States or globally or just you start
Yeah.
in Texas first? What is your goal?
Well, if it's online, it could be anywhere.
Right.
And Bell County's another one. There's a juvenile probation system.
Okay.
It's a friend of mine that he is a diagnostician in Bell and he's from Acton County into a school district. He is wanting me to do some virtual training for parents and students
Okay.
that are on probation. They're actually like juveniles. So we've been talking about that for a while. That's one of them. The other end is pay what you can afford. Some parents can pay $1, some can pay
Okay.
zero, some can pay 1,000. It just depends on what the training is. I've
Okay.
got something on toileting. Every parent wants that. How to
Okay.
research methods to toilet train a child with autism. That's the one that I can do.
Okay.
A
All
lot
right.
of others. Educating the general education teachers. special education teachers, anything I can do for those. That's
Okay.
what I plan to do.
All right. So if you're watching this channel, whether YouTube or LinkedIn, or Mike, can you let our audience know how do they contact you, and how can the conversation continue with anyone that may have interest?
All right. My website is www.theautismman, all one squeeze together.com.
Okay.
You can find me on LinkedIn. That's just under my name. Um, on Twitter, it's at Autism Man 11
Okay.
because I was at Regional 11 at that time.
All
See,
right.
that's Twitter, X, LinkedIn, Threads. I think it's at the autism underscore man.
Okay.
Many others. Facebook, you just look up the Autism Man and find the group. I'm on the group page. In fact, my son has written two phenomenal papers and they're going viral,
Awesome.
extremely viral. Yeah.
All right. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mike. Another thing too, currently, how are you running your operations? Do you have a staff, or do you have any intention of hiring? Bro, what are your
Well,
goals?
right at present, it's me, my wife, and my youngest son and my older son.
Okay.
That's what we got these shirts for.
Right.
That's the dealership stuff.
Right.
Now,
So
when
you
it comes
would you be
to the more, I
right.
have Daniel Duraney's going to be somebody. I have a teammate, Lori Irvine. She was my mentor in Duncanville. Not sure what she's going to do. Charles Silverman, Ed Amaya. Yeah, I have no idea where this is going to go.
Okay.
Absolutely. I know it. All I can tell you is it's growing by leaps and
Yes.
bounds,
Yes.
and will
Definitely. I mean,
continue to grow.
you have a huge market. We wish you all the best. We are a tech support company as well.
Right.
So if you have need support with your growth plans, or scaling, using AI automation, or working
Yeah.
with anything else, we can also support you as you dive
Right.
in, and as you grow.
Well, I forgot to give my email address. You can also, if you want to email me, it's mike@theautismman.com.
Mike at theautismman.com. All
Right.
right, great. Well, any last words as we wrap up the show for the day? And we want to thank you again for being here. But just let our audience, any last words, imperative words that you want to leave as we close.
Yeah. Socialize, get a communication system, and take care of sensory needs, and you're gonna make it. You'll be all right.
Okay.
That's about that.
All right. So thank you, Michael, for coming. We appreciate it. And this is
You're
not the
welcome.
end. We'll continue communicating via LinkedIn and
Absolutely.
all our channels that we have. So thank you so much, and we appreciate it. And continue to tune in as we dive in for our next episodes, our Sync podcast guests. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Mike.